Hi, this is MC of Healthy by George. I come each week to talk about issues which we face as we get bolder so that we can stay healthier as long as possible. Please think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week. Today, I'm going to talk about the 5 key things that I'm considering while I shift from a weight loss perception to more maintenance while I try to lose 5 to 10 more pounds. So think about subscribing, click that like button, share, and come each week and let's support one another as we work towards building the healthiest version of who we are so that we can be functional well into our much older years. So for the past 2.5 years, I've really been focusing on how can I really work towards a lower weight. And my first goal was to get below 200 pounds. And I was able to achieve that. And then I met some challenges. The first challenge was I had to have a complete hysterectomy a year ago. And then the second challenge was a hip replacement in June of this past year, which was a bit of a problem. So those were a couple of setbacks. And in that process, I went up a few pounds. I had to come off of the GLP-1 drug Manjaro. And that was really revealing, but I was really proud of myself because I only gained 5 pounds. So now I'm really working towards shifting into a different way of thinking. The 2 years that I've been focusing on losing this considerable amount of weight, it's all been about the calorie deficit and movement and dealing with health challenges during that process. But now I'm seeing where I can do more movement. I'm working towards 2 to 3 miles a day, which just feel phenomenal about. Working towards getting my energy back. My fatigue is still lingering there. I'm sure it's because of I'm only, what is it, July, August, September, October, 4 months past the last surgery I had. So now I want to do things where I can really establish new habits. I want to let go of old habits that weren't working for me or that were really more focused on diet and not about lifestyle. I don't want to think about how I can cut out entire food groups or that I want to learn about sustainable changes that I can create that are healthier and habits that embrace this new conversation about this healthier version of who I am. And so it's not easy sometimes to break old habits and routines, such as cravings for sugars, which is emotional eating. If I get upset, I'm craving a sugar. I want to remind myself of the progress I've made and where I'm headed so that I don't allow myself to just be in a comfort zone. I want to move forward, but in a different way. How are you moving forward with your health and well being? Are you looking at the way that you have habits now and what do they do to support your healthier you? I think that needs to be looked at. And as we approach the end of this year, this is a perfect time to start doing a little self evaluation. I think also, too, because I'm set this place right below 200 pounds, I'm a little bit in a plateau. I'm working towards not feeling frustrated. I know that the reality of weight loss is not just about the food and the movement. It's about sometimes how our brain says, "Ooh, you're losing weight. That must be unsafe." And it holds on to the fat that you got so that your body thinks that you're in some kind of starvation mode. So I want to start looking at some research, which I think I'm very eager to try, which is wearing a weighted vest. There is some research that's being done right now where if you wear a weighted vest throughout the day, it tricks your brain into thinking that you still have the same weight that you've always had. So I've ordered a weighted vest and I'll share it with you when it arrives so that I can start to explore. Maybe I can trick my brain into believing that I'm still the weight I was and not this new weight that I'm at. I certainly feel better. I know that as I work towards non-scale victories, such as better sleep, easier movement, more energy, working towards a fitness, which includes muscle growth, which is a new focus, that these are all positive things. And I want to surround myself with thoughts about the positive elements of this shift in my body than my thinking. I think if you've held on to weight for as long as I have, 40 years, and I've learned that I need to question if I'm looking to do something radical, like skip a meal or eat too few calories, 1,200 calories, or somehow make up for the day before if I didn't do, what I wanted calorically or food choice wise. I think that's really not me. I think it's always about being consistent and showing up for the healthy me that I want to continue to be. Also, dealing with social pressures. I shared last time how I was at a family event and emotions were high. And boy, I did not do well. I was emotionally triggered, and God bless America. Sugar was my friend. What can I say? It was not a great thing. I really reverted back to some poor behavior and had too much sugar. And I just appreciate that I want to shift the way that I cope with conflict. I want to shift in doing something different when I am having something that brings up high levels of emotions, and I can do behavior and think about actions that I'm going to try versus acting out and having something that is sugar. And I know that's going to be my constant approach. But I do believe that with some intentional thinking and intentional choices, that it's possible to really shift how I manage conflict when it's happening around social situations. Or if there's a situation where I'm tempted with some type of food, I'll feel comfortable by having a bite, and that's enough. I feel I've included myself. I tasted it. It's great. And what I am learning is the more and more I eat less sugar, the more that sweet things are too sweet to eat. And I really don't like them anymore. So that's a real new one for me. I don't know about you. How are you when it comes to sweets and foods that you used to crave? And now, after you haven't eaten them for a while, do you find that they just don't do what they used to do? Interesting. The other thing is about motivation. I think we all lose this issue about how do we stay motivated or stay engaged or how do we stay intentional. And for me, I call it my morning of intentional training or my morning intentional time, because truthfully, if I know I can set up my morning with the intentions of doing my little practice of breath work and movement, a little mental focus on something spiritual, acknowledging the gratefulness that I have for each day, some health components that I have in there, taking my blood pressure, documenting that I took my morning medications and vitamins, my weight, and sometimes I take my measurements, not all the time. I'm not crazy. I'm just a little bit crazy. And now if I don't do it one morning, it doesn't drive me crazy. I like to do it though. It really makes me feel like I'm taking care of myself first thing in the morning. Setting up a morning ritual truly has been a game changer for me because it sets the stage that I care about myself. I care about how I am physically and mentally feeling. But I think that's the most important thing. And we can really achieve a lot if we are caring about ourselves first thing in the morning. And to me, I think on tough days when I'm feeling tired or I don't feel like I've had enough sleep, this kind of ritual, it helps me focus on what's important and how that all I need to do is just take the next step, do the next right thing that I've always planned to do most morning. How about you? So, when I think about this whole approach of shifting from this major focus on weight loss to now, how can I make this more of a lifestyle of choices? And how can I grow to be encompassing of this path that's continuing to progress in healthiness, focusing on weight, loss as a minor component, but more about gaining strength and making food choices that support a healthy lifestyle. And that we're not alone. I think in order for us to age well and be healthy well into our older years, it is going to take this kind of focus. And we can be curious about how it's going to take shape for ourselves. None of us know what health and challenges are going to happen in the future. These things can just show up. You can trip, you can fall, you can suddenly have something unexpected show up, like I did with my hemoglobin or your iron or some kind of blood work that doesn't come back as you like. Being curious about how you can do something daily to help yourself is such a wonderful practice that you can put in place. And I know that's what I'm looking at is how can I make this a circle of biological, psychological, environmental processes that support myself in becoming the best version of who I am. And I want that to stay engaged well into my much older years. How about you? Is this something that you desire as well? We all want to be as healthy as we possibly can into our 80s and 90s. I do not want to be frail. I do not want to be someone who's dependent on someone else. I want to stay independent as long as possible. So be well, my friends. We have this one precious life. Let's live it intentionally. And please think about subscribing. I would love to see you here each week where we can share and support one another in becoming the very best version of who we are so we can grow older with the knowledge that we're going to be functional as long as possible. Be well. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
So thank you so much for joining me at Healthy by George. I hope you found the information inspiring and that it encourages you on your wellness journey. Because remember, your body, your well-being are a most precious gift, and every tiny action taken daily can make a huge difference. I hope the information here is educational purposes and is not meant to replace your medical care. See your doctor and talk about what works for you. If you enjoyed today's content, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continuing creating content that inspires and empowers you to live your best life. Goodbye for now, and join me again at the next Healthy by George.